Howdy, y'all.
Hi, guys.
It's Ryan.
And Angela.
She's back.
Ah.
I can hear your voice.
I can hear clearly now. The crud is gone.
So good. From Art of Music, deep in the heart of Canton, Texas. That's where we're at right now. And we are back to answer your questions. Let's answer some. First question. Camden. Camden. I wonder if it's Camden.
Probably.
Camden. Hey RNA, I just recently purchased my first real Marshall, a JVM 410C 2x12. I got it off Craigslist for 900 bucks. Was this a good purchase and a fair price? Well, Camden, I'm going to blaspheme the rock gods and say I'm not a big Marshall fan. I've played on a few different ones, you know, and they just didn't really click for me. Personal taste, you know. Tons of great rock and metal and music has been played on a Marshall, so, but the ones I've played on I didn't get along with. But if you like them, awesome. As far as good price, I looked up a few places selling them. I think you're about right. You're probably a little bit under, you know, maybe $100 under what kind of the going use price is for. The 410C 2x12s are kind of hard to find, actually. There's a lot of 410C heads that were about $1,200, $1,100 used. So, you know, I think you got a fair price. I don't think you stole it from the guy. Which is probably good for him.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pretty good price. So I hope you enjoy it, man. A lot of great music played on those amps. So thanks for the question.
Yeah.
Next question. Krang 89. I feel like a Ninja Turtle now.
I know.
Krang.
Right? Yeah, the Krang.
Is there such a thing as getting stuck in one key? I tend to always play in E minor, as that's where I learned all my scales and modes, and am I missing out by not putting the effort into moving them around more? And do you find yourself often writing riffs in a certain home key? Love the channel. Thank you. Yeah, there's definitely getting stuck in one key.
Yeah.
I think that's a kind of a common thing, you know?
Yeah, I think it's for everybody.
Yeah, well, for singers, you know, your voice is kind of pitched in a certain range. So there's not much you can do about your voice. You can expand your range a little bit, but
Yeah, you can change.
There's still a physical limit.
Yes.
But yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of us in the early stages of playing guitar, we learn, especially our scales and things like in A minor and E minor. And depending on what music you play a lot of, you know, you've probably played a lot of things. Like if you're into like Metallica and metal stuff, then there's a lot of stuff written in E minor and G major. So it's pretty, you know, fair for that to happen. Are you missing out by not moving them around? Yeah, I think so, because you know you'll probably come across some songs you want to play that are going to be in a key maybe you're not comfortable with, and so you know it'd be good to be able to play those. Or if you're jamming with people, if you ever go to open mic or open bar, blues jams or whatever, they might not always do it in A and E. They might, but you might come across something that's in a different key. And I think it's worth practicing the different keys. I think a good tip would be to, you know, run through all your scales, like just do it, you know, by the week or, you know, every 3 days, you know, run through all your scales in the key of E minor, G major for like a couple of days. And the next day, force yourself to play, okay, we're gonna do B minor today. So run through all the patterns and be B minor. You know, every few days, like cycle into different keys. I think that's a good way to do it. I think I do get stuck in that too, personally. And it's kind of funny, I do a lot of drop D stuff, but I end up being in, even though it's centered around D, I do a lot of stuff, it's like D mixolydian, which is kind of the same thing as G major, just with the pivot point being on D. So I do kind of do that as well. But yeah, I think that's a pretty common thing, but I think it is worth trying to push out of your comfort zones, for sure. It'll just make you a better player all around. Thanks for the question, Krang. Turtles. Next question, Brian M. Question for the next show. If you were not a shop owner and didn't have any industry connections.
Do we?
I'm so, well, I am a shop owner. What would be your comfort zone dollar amount on spending for a new guitar? Regarding new, at NAMM, looks like the under $1,000 amp market is heating up. It certainly is. Orange Rocker 15, Orange Brent Hines, Marshall DSL, an Origin Line PRS, MT15. Yeah, we'll kind of cover both those. Yeah, that sub 1,000 range is heating up. And on that note, I'm super excited that pretty soon I'm going to have an amp in that smaller size that's right at probably $999-ish, right under 1,000, that we're going to be doing a demo of and we'll have available for a little bit. Super excited. So teaser, spoilers, and it's none of those. It's probably going to be better.
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress. What's my comfort zone dollar amount on spending for a new guitar? Well, I don't think it matters about the shop connections because, yes, I do get dealer pricing on brands that we're a retailer for, right? So if I wanted to buy myself a Schecter or a Washburn or a CMG or an Acacia or what else do we carry? I don't remember. I could, but several of the guitars I've purchased since we've owned the shop have not been brands we're a dealer for.
Right.
Like I have 2 PRS guitars. I'm not a PRS dealer. I have one LTD ESP. I'm not a dealer for those guys. And I have a Takamine. That's my personal guitar, and I'm not a Takamine dealer. My personal limit, I think the most I've ever spent on a guitar for myself, I think was about $1,200 or $1,300, and that was, I think, my PRS S2, and I bought it from Sweetwater. I'll just say who I bought it from, because they're nice people. If I can't get it for you, they're nice people, you know. So that's about the most I've ever spent personally, and it was like like 24 months no interest. I'm like, all right, I'm down with that because we'll pay it off in 24 months no interest. So that's probably my comfort level currently, because that's a lot of money. But for a USA made guitar, that's not necessarily a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now I have gotten a few other guitars that were like, I've bought used for myself. So I'll do that. I shop for the deals because we're not independently wealthy.
Yep.
Yet. Not yet. So, we got kids and groceries and bills and stuff. And so when I'm shopping for myself, I'm hunting for deals. But if it's something I really want, like that PRS S2, actually I got a discount. I got like $100 off because it was like a scratch and dent. But I couldn't find the scratch. So up to this point in my life, about $1,200 is the most I've ever spent on a guitar, and probably my current comfort level. It'd be hard to drop $3 grand on a guitar.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that today, this year. It's all relative, though. If you make $200,000 a year, what's $3 grand for a guitar? Not that big of a deal.
Depends on how much debt you have.
Well, that's true. If you make $200,000 a year and you live off of $215,000 a year, $3 grand's a lot of money, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Anyways, that's my limit currently. Brian, thanks for the question, man. Appreciate it. Colin James, question for next week. Have you ever looked into Eastman Guitars? I recently bought their solid body SB59, and it's every bit the guitar that it's emulating. They announced a couple of more solid body models at NAMM, both LP copies, just different styles. Quality on these is stellar. I had to readjust, sorry. Back's hurt. I don't think I ever have put my hands on an Eastman in person. It sounds really familiar though. I must have seen them somewhere or come across them, but I do not recall. I do not recall. That's the government answer when you're in front of a Congress
Right.
hearing. I do not recall. It sounds pretty familiar though, but I've never put my hands on them. But I'll definitely give them a look now. And you guys, if any of you guys or girls have played Eastman guitars, leave your comments and your thoughts. This kind of was going to go into another question later on, I think, actually. So thanks, Colin. Next question, divided by time. What about watching Shane from In the Blues? What was that? Sounded like somebody talking on the phone.
Yeah.
What brand of tubes do you use in your Mesa amp? And do you use the same brand tubes for all tube amps? So last week, we were talking about our favorite YouTubers. I was talking about YouTube channels I like to watch. I have watched a few of Shane from In the Blues videos. I watched maybe 10 of his videos probably, which they're great. You know, I don't necessarily click on every single time a new one comes up, but I have watched his videos and he seems like pretty knowledgeable about stuff. But I don't know if it just doesn't click, or you know, people watch what they watch. You don't always. Nothing wrong with the guy. Like, he didn't do anything that I thought, I don't like him. It wasn't anything like that. But it just didn't pique my interest. Just like some people watch our channel and are like, yeah, they seem nice, but it doesn't really interest me. It happens. But I have watched a few of his. As far as what brand tubes I use in the Mesa, that's the original Mesa tubes. Stock tubes from like the mid-90s in this thing. It's still on its original tubes, which is funny because when I met Randall Smith at a clinic and he autographed the amp for me, he's like,
the tubes?
He autographed the amp and he was like, these are your original tubes. And I'm like, I know. And he's like, you know, we make tubes. I'm like, oh, I know. He's like, they sell them here. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But then he said, but you know what? These still work? I'm like, yeah, they work. He's like, I probably wouldn't change them then. Like, if they're still working, don't change them.
Yeah.
And if you do change them, it is going to sound different. So I haven't ever replaced them in that. I think that's quite a testimony, because this amp's been used pretty much every day for years now. Still works. As far as the other amps, the only other amp I've retubed is my little Fender Super Champ. And I think I have groove tubes in it.
No idea.
She's not a tube aficionado. I'm not really either.
Toothpaste tubes, maybe.
What's your favorite toothpaste?
Crest.
Crest? Is that what we always buy?
Yep.
I don't know. I just put it on my brush. Go with it. And I just use those because my buddy Christian from Good Shed Studios, I was like, dude, I need some tubes, man. These burned out. I don't have any. And he's like, I got some. And he brought them over. And they were great. I'm not too picky about that. So I'll probably put Mesa tubes in this one when it's time. But maybe not. There was a period of time in history where the Mesa tubes, I don't think, were the greatest. That's going back like 15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll see. I don't really have any preferences because I haven't honestly had to change my tubes very often. I've had really good luck with tubes. Maybe because I don't crank it to the max all the time. Thanks for the question, man. Diesel power, slick, vintage, or Harley Benton on a single cut model? Well, I'm aware of vintage guitars and Harley Benton. I don't know about slick guitars. So I'm not sure. The Harley Benton guitars are all the rage now amongst the YouTubers. And because of the YouTube pimping of the guitars, a lot of people are starting to want to buy them and order them in America, because they're really a house brand for a store in Germany, Thomann Guitars.
Okay.
So I think it's pretty interesting that a store brand is becoming really popular. Like Guitar Center has a store brand, Mitchell Guitars, and you don't really see people talking about Mitchell guitars and what a steal they are and how great they are. So I think the fact that Thomann has gotten some YouTubers with high visibility to start playing them, and now it's like, hey, we're going to get these guitars. It's like going to Walmart and like, what's the Walmart brand stuff?
Great Value.
Great Value. It's like, man, have you checked out that Great Value ketchup? It's awesome. It's like, yeah, it's marketing. But I have to say I'm interested because the prices on them are really good. And I, from a branding standpoint, I find that a really interesting thing that we've been convinced to buy somebody's store brand.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It is. We need a store brand. We need an RNA music guitar.
Yeah.
And we'll get all my YouTube friends to go, this is awesome. Maybe we'll sell a buttload of them.
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe in the future we will have our own brand of guitars. Why not?
Why not?
So, I don't know. I would like to put my hands on them. I'm interested in the Harley Bentons. I'd like to play one just to see how it stacks up against other guitars. Thanks for the question, Diesel Power. Final question. Blaine Ludman. What are your thoughts on Slayer's not so metal sounding farewell tour and Dave Mustaine calling for a big 4 show? Or at least a big 3 since Metallica's out touring. Also, when are y'all gonna start a bitter bass band? Paul and your son on basses and you on the drums. Are all bitter bass lines in the minor keys, or did we cover that already? Also, I've been digging your Riff of the Day posts, and I think you have some potential songs in there, so keep the metal alive.
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I read about, Slayer's kind of hanging up their guitars and calling it a day.
They've been around.
They have been around a while, but we'll see. Ozzy just announced his No More Tours 2 tour. He's retiring again. The No More Tours was like 20 years ago he was going to retire.
It's like Cher or Elton John.
This is my final tour. Until next time.
Yeah.
Until I need to pay some taxes.
Yes.
Until the IRS calls, and then we're going to go on tour again.
Yep.
I don't know. I've seen Slayer. I saw them on a Clash of the Titans too, which was Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth. And they were great. If you like Slayer, they're a little intense for me. I always say it's like getting punched in the face with a brick over and over and over on every song. Seeing them live. So it was a little intense. But, I don't know who else. I forgot to see who else was playing with them. So, I don't know. But we'll see if they actually hang it up for good. Maybe they're financially stable and maybe they've done good with their money over the years. And we'll see if they actually is a farewell or not. Most of the time, most farewell tours are not farewells. As far as Mustaine calling for a big 4 show, I think the other 3, they would benefit from that more than Metallica would. Metallica's already selling out stadiums on their own. So having the other 3 bands, along, I don't know. I've heard people say it's like, well, that's about the only way Megadeth's going to play a stadium anytime soon. But, they did a one-off show, I think. A Big 4 one-off show a couple years ago. But, I don't know. Personally, I'd rather go see Metallica. I've seen all of those bands. Metallica's still my favorite. So, it doesn't matter to me whether they all tour together or not. We're kind of reliving the past a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to start a bitter bass band. My son's not bitter. We call it, he's the happy bass player.
Yeah.
Nicholas is a happy bass player.
Yeah, he's not a bitter kid.
He's not bitter.
He has nothing to be bitter about.
No, he does not. He has good.
Yeah.
Real good. We were talking about that the other day. You shared a video talking about people complaining about their lives.
Yeah.
And it was pretty intense. What was he saying?
I was just comparing what everybody has gone through. They would give some examples, and they're YouTubers actually, and well, not YouTubers, people that have been made famous from their stories on social media, and like the guy who had to amputate his own arm or leg with a pocket knife or something, and the girl who, and I've seen this with the catapult. She went to go bring it back, and it came back and smashed her in the face, and the guy get stabbed by a javelin and all this stuff. And it's like, but we complain about traffic, and when asked, was it one thing that they could think of about what their experience, they said, well, it could have been worse. Yeah. And it's just like a slam poetry about perspective, basically. How we should have perspective about our lives. So yeah, our kids have some perspective. We try to raise them with plenty of perspective. Like, you have it good, you know.
And we'll remind them.
Yeah.
If they start complaining.
You're homeschooled, you get to stay at home with your parents, you hang out with your friends on the weekends, you have plenty of food, you have your own bedrooms with all your stuff jam-packed in there. You know, they are able to, you know, work and get their own money and spend it on their own things, and so they have nothing to complain about. Nothing whatsoever to complain about. They're blessed. So he is not a bitter as Paul is, even though Paul should take a little dime from from our children and not complain so much about his own life. Paul. But yeah, no bitterness in the Lawley household. We're very blessed and happy with what we have. So, not a bitter bass band.
No bitter bass bands for us.
Yeah.
The bitter bass man can be in my band.
Yes.
But we're not too bitter.
Yeah.
Are all bitter bass lines in minor keys? Paul actually writes like really happy music.
Yeah, he does.
His bass
it
lines are real.
Because I mean, he
poppy.
Yes, they are. Because I think because for a long time he listened to a lot of ska.
Yes.
And
yeah, he did.
And punk music that was kind of just driving, even though punk music is supposed to be like anarchist type stuff.
It was upbeat punk.
It was very upbeat punk music. It wasn't like just driving home, sad, depressing.
He wasn't listening to Slayer.
No. So whenever he comes out with something, it's always like ding 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 ding.
This is my happy song. This is my happy.
And he's probably gonna laugh. Yeah, I gotta
shut up. It's not happy.
It's not happy.
That's just all major keys there, man.
Yeah. So yeah, he's so funny.
Because I think secretly, way down inside, he's really happy.
Yeah. The Grinch's heart grew 3 times that day. Yeah.
He's like the Grinch of bass.
Yes. After he steals all the presents.
Yeah. Well, after
realizes that the townspeople are still singing for happiness.
Dang it.
Yeah.
He's secretly super happy down inside.
Oh yeah, he is.
Maybe. Way down inside.
Not that deep.
Not that deep. So, yeah. Thanks for checking out my riff of the day. I did a whole, write 1 riff a day for 31 days. And it was awesome. I was supposed to record another video talking about what I've learned through that process. So I need to do that. Maybe this weekend. Because I learned a lot of valuable lessons doing that exercise. So, thank you guys so much. That's all the questions we have for this week. And if you have a question for next week, for me, or now that Angela can talk,
yay!
She's got her voice back.
Most of it.
I started losing mine.
90% of it is back. It's still a little wobbly towards the end of the day.
Mine was a little scratchy at the beginning of this week, but I loaded up on emergency and vitamin C, so I'm better. But yeah, so questions from me or Angela, leave them below. We'll try to answer them next week, schedules permitting, because we're super busy.
Yes, I'm super tired if you can't tell.
Super tired, yeah. It's been a long day, especially for Angela. She was up early this morning. I was up early too, though. I was. I keep forgetting that until about 10 o'clock. I'm like, why am I so tired? Oh, I was up early today.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. We read all the comments. Thank you. Even if you don't ask a question, you leave us a comment. Thank you for that. We try to read all of those. And keep the music alive.
Don't forget it.
Music needs you.
And you need the music.
Yeah, we do. More than ever. We'll keep that alive for the next, I don't even want to say it.
Group of
youngsters coming up, and beginners of all ages learning their instruments.
All ages. It's not just young people.
Yeah, I can't say the G word anymore.
It's for
Paul likes it.
Yeah.
For everyone.
The next wave of music enthusiasts.
The next wave of music enthusiasts.
Is that better?
That's much better, because I can't say the other thing that I was saying. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give Shh! Stop it. Stop it. We'll get sued.
Oh.
copyright infringement.
I don't think it will with my voice. I was nowhere near the notes to make it recognizable at all. There you go.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all. Paul's all about the Star Trek, man.
Yeah, he is.
He needs to get over it.
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.